There's a moment, you'll know it when it happens to you, if it hasn't already, where you stop replying to a text you would have answered instantly a year ago. Not because you're busy, not because you forgot, because something in you already knows how the conversation ends before it starts. That's not burnout, that's not anxiety. That's something psychologists have a name for, and once you understand it, you'll never see your distant friend the same way again. You might not see yourself the same way either. Stick with me, because the last reason on this list is the one nobody talks about, and it's the one that actually explains everything else. If you've pulled away from people lately and quietly wondered if something's wrong with you, it isn't. What's happening is more specific, more common among sharp, self-aware people than you'd think. And, once you see it, impossible to unsee. Here's how it usually starts. Not with a dramatic falling out, with a small, almost forgettable moment. Someone congratulates you, and the timing feels a half-second too slow. A friend asks how you're doing, but their eyes are already scanning the room for someone more interesting. Someone who supports you only shows up in the group chat when you've messed up. Individually, none of it means anything. You'd have shrugged it off before. But at some point, your brain stops treating these as isolated moments and starts treating them as data. And once your brain starts connecting dots, it doesn't stop. That's not cynicism. It's pattern recognition, and it's one of the most well-documented shifts that comes with growing self-awareness. The uncomfortable part isn't noticing it once. It's that you can't turn it back off. The friend who only calls when they need something doesn't get a pass anymore, because you've already seen the pattern 3 times, so you don't confront them. You don't announce it. You just quietly stop initiating. And from the outside, that looks exactly like disappearing. From the inside, it's the opposite. It's the first time you've stopped confusing attention with connection. Now here's the part almost nobody explains properly. It's not that self-aware people enjoy being alone. It's that being around people who require decoding is genuinely, measurably tiring. Think about the difference between a conversation where someone says exactly what they mean and one where you're also tracking what they're not saying. The tension under the joke, the compliment that's really a comparison, the "I'm fine" that clearly isn't. One of those conversations costs you nothing, the other one costs you a nap. That second kind of listening, where you're processing tone, subtext, and motive at the same time as content, is cognitively expensive. Do it enough times a day, with enough people, and a full social calendar stops feeling like connection. It starts feeling like unpaid work. So the pullback isn't about people in general. It's about a very specific kind of exhaustion that most people never learn to name, which means they never learn they're allowed to say no to it. But none of that fully explains why this shift feels so permanent once it happens. Why people don't just take a break and go back to normal. There's a deeper reason for that, and it has less to do with other people than you'd expect. We'll get there in a second. Carl Jung had a line worth sitting with. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life, and you'll call it fate. Self-aware people eventually notice something unsettling. Most of what looks like an attack on them isn't actually about them at all. The coworker who undermines you in meetings is usually terrified of being outperformed. The friend who never lets you finish a sentence usually can't sit with silence long enough to listen. The person who needs constant reassurance from you is usually running from a fear of being forgettable. Once you can see the fear underneath the behavior, you stop reacting to the behavior itself. You stop needing the last word in every argument. You stop replying to every message the second it lands. Not from coldness, from the realization that saying yes to the wrong person is quietly saying no to your own bandwidth. That's not emotional distance. That's what emotional intelligence actually looks like day to day. And it's the exact skill most how to read people content never teaches you. Because it's not about reading them. It's about not hijacking your own nervous system on their behalf. Here's the misread almost everyone makes about people who go quiet. They assume it's about loneliness. But these people have simply given up on connection. It's the opposite. They didn't fall in love with being alone. They fell in love with clarity. For maybe the first time, silence stops being something to escape and starts being something to use. Not scrolling to fill it. Not calling someone just to avoid sitting with your own head. Actually thinking. Actually noticing what you believe versus what you inherited from everyone around you. And that's when the question underneath everything quietly flips. It stops being "how do I fit in here?" and becomes Does this life actually look like me? That single question is the real reason the disappearing act happens. Not one dramatic decision, 100 small ones, stacked over months, each one slightly harder to notice from the outside than the last. To everyone watching, it looks sudden. It looks like withdrawal. Really, it's the opposite of losing someone. It's someone finally stopping the disappearing act they were doing on themselves. The years of shrinking, performing, and translating themselves into a version other people found easier to be around. So if you've caught yourself stepping back from people lately, before you decide something's wrong with you, ask a better question. Are you withdrawing from people? Or are you finally walking toward the version of your life you actually meant to build? Sometimes the people who seem to be disappearing aren't lost at all. They're just finally where they should have been the whole time. If this described someone in your life, or honestly described you, let me know in the comments. Have you ever pulled away from someone, or had someone quietly pull away from you? I read every single one. And if you want more of this, the psychology behind why people act the way they do, hit subscribe, because this is exactly what this channel is built on.